The battle for control of the U.S. Congress is coming down to a handful of states. The GOP is leading the race for the House of Representatives, now ahead by some 20 seats. The Senate is about evenly split, but the Democrats are not without major victories. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says that it is clear Democratic members are strongly outperforming expectations across the country. Her words are ringing true in Pennsylvania, where John Fetterman flipped the GOP-held seat after defeating Trump-backed Republican celebrity Dr Mehmet Oz. This boosts their chances of retaining their razor-thin majority in the Senate.
We held the line. I never expected that we were going to turn these red counties blue, but we did what we needed to do. And we had that conversation across every one of those counties. And tonight, that's why I'll be the next U.S. Senator from Pennsylvania.
In Ohio, the race looks to be a win for the Republicans. J.D. Vance, who benefited from a last-minute push through endorsement from former President Donald Trump, defeated Democratic Tim Ryan to retain the GOP-held seat. Georgia seeing a very tight race for a seat on the Senate. Democratic incumbent Raphael Warnock leading by less than 1% against Republican Herschel Walker. Around 96% of votes there have been counted. Georgia is a key battleground, with the state deciding control of the Senate back in 2020. Now in Arizona, counting has been delayed after problems with electronic vote counting machines. With around 67% of ballots in, Democrat Mark Kelly is ahead of Republican Blake Masters by 6%. But it is still too early to call a winner. Simon Marks joins us live now from Washington, D.C. with all the latest updates on this. Simon, are the Democrats outperforming expectations in these midterms, just as Speaker Pelosi had said? And for the Republicans, what is it that has kept them from achieving that red wave?
Well, look, the Democrats are not just outperforming their own expectations. They are bucking a series of historical precedents here, because Joe Biden, history suggested, could legitimately have expected to lose far more ground in these midterm elections than he appears. And we should emphasize the outcome of these both of these races for the House and the Senate not yet resolved. But he could have expected to lose far more ground than he appears to have lost. So there's no question that they will be in celebratory mood at the White House, even though they will still be nervous about the ultimate outcome of the U.S. Senate. And the House of Representatives still looks like it will end up being controlled by the Republicans, albeit with a much smaller majority than the Republicans had hoped. But for President Biden, a man beset by challenges in terms of his own approval ratings, by the country's parlous economic condition, and of course, the ongoing efforts to propel America's economy down a road of recovery after COVID-19. The stage appeared to be set for what Barack Obama famously referred to after his midterm election defeats as a shellacking. Well, that has not happened to many Democratic candidates from coast to coast. And there is no question whatsoever that this will have rekindled the hopes of Democrats that for them the worst may be over and the stage may be set for a reset and an opportunity to try and build a campaign that leads towards the 2024 presidential election. Undoubtedly, the Democrats were buoyed by issues including abortion rights, which galvanized grassroots supporters, by the president's insistence that this election was putting democracy on the ballot. That, too, buoyed grassroots supporters. But there is also absolutely no question that more broadly, Democrats were buoyed by the fact that Republicans in many states picked Trump-backed candidates who, under normal circumstances, would never have found themselves running for open seats for the U.S. Senate. And so they will, I think, be in celebratory mood at the White House, even though the outcome of all of this remains unresolved and is likely to remain unresolved for many days to come.
Certainly, Simon, it will take some days before we fully know the results here. But to the first flip of the day, and a very big one at that for the Democrats, John Fetterman's victory in Pennsylvania. How far does it go towards the Democrats possibly retaining control of Congress?
Well, it's potentially vital because, of course, the Senate was split 50-50. So both parties had the challenge of needing to hold everything that they had and to flip a seat. And so by securing Pennsylvania, the Democrats have done that. However, it looks, according to the latest results, that the Democrats may be in trouble in Nevada with 75% of votes counted there. The incumbent Democrat senator, Catherine Cortez Masto, has only 47% of the vote to the Republican Adam Laxalt's 50% of the vote. So Republicans will be hoping to flip that seat. That would then take the Senate race, back to being deadlocked, at which point all eyes are going to be on that crucial battle in the state of Georgia. And if neither Raphael Warnock, the incumbent Democrat, or Herschel Walker, his Republican challenger, end that race with more than 50% of the vote, and there is a third-party Libertarian candidate there siphoning support away from them, then Georgia is heading to a runoff in early December. It will be, potentially, the race that then decides the disposition of the Senate. So we may have several nail-biting weeks to wait before we know precisely whether the Democrats or the Republicans are going to be in control of the Senate. And that has huge implications for President Biden, because if the Republicans win it, he will find it very, very difficult to advance his domestic agenda, despite the fact that the red wave that former President Donald Trump was calling for does not appear largely to have materialized.
A December runoff, not something that either candidate will want to consider. Simon, thank you very much for that. Simon Marks reporting live for us from Washington, D.C.